Afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Joni Ogg, and on behalf of travelprofessionalnews.com, home-based travelagent.com, and findahosttravelagency.com, I would like to welcome all of you to today's webinar and thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. This is our first official webinar for 2025. So we welcome everybody back that's been with us before, and we're excited to have folks with us that it's their first time with us. And today's topic is going to be really amazing. When we were at Cruise World this year, we met a gentleman and he's going to be our presenter today. Super nice guy and really interesting what he does. And today's topic is Sailing the Ganges, Artisans of Bengal. And our speaker is Arjun Sinsanwar, who's the Chief Inspiration Officer for Antara Cruises. Now, he's asked that I share something with you, so I'm going to read this to you, and it's coming from him, okay? So he says, growing up engaged in independent travel firms at the cutting edge of destination and industry-defining products, I've been privileged to pioneer innovative, luxurious experiences for sustainable learning and cultural exchange across South Asia that are defined by and directly benefit the local people. Now, today's monsoon makes tomorrow's cruises, and to voyage is an agricultural act of terroir. Luxury cruising is not just the provision of a photogenic room with fine dining. It is the kaleidoscope of local movement across the landscapes, the handcrafted nature of indigenous ships, authenticity of design and textiles, and the transformative nature of discussions with expert guides, the deliciousness of reimagined traditional cuisine, and the warmth of interactions with local staff and peoples. Our sailings unlock privileged access to mythologies and monuments forgotten in time, set in pristine wild landscapes where travelers don't visit in boutique handcraft accommodations, and we offer a 360 interface with local nature and culture. There are two things scarce matched in the universe: sun in heaven and the Ganges on earth. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about this. So let's just remember, folks, if you've been with us before, and for those of you who have not, you will be muted during the presentation, but we really do welcome your questions throughout the presentation. You just need to type those in the questions area that you see on the right-hand side of your screen, and then we will get to those questions when Arjun is all finished with his presentation. And this is going to be really interesting, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions. So don't hesitate to put those in when you're thinking about it, and then we'll hold on to those and come back to them at the end. So we are going to be giving away a prize today of a $50 Amazon gift card. So be listening carefully, because there will be a question we will present to you, and be looking for your answer. And we'll get more to that later on at the end of the presentations. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Arjun so we can get started. Welcome. It's so great to have you here.
Namaste, Joni. Namaste, everyone. My name is Arjun. It's wonderful to be with you here today. And I'm sorry, Joni, I gave you such a dense introduction, but I'm really glad you got through there and got it presented out. If I knew you were going to say it, I might have given you something else. Well, it's wonderful to be with you here today. And as Joni mentioned, we're here to talk about India as a river cruise destination. And so to begin with, just to explain a bit more about who we are, we're a family business. We're a 40 years family firm. And for 20 years, we've been redefining India as a world-class river cruise destination. It's our passion to showcase the best of India through the lens of river cruising. And so really, I've come to tell you today really about why river cruise India. India is a vast country with thousands of years of cultural heritage, and many great innovations in civilization have developed along and because the rivers, the waterways were the highways for the commodities trade. You have innovations like Ayurveda, the science of healing and well-being. You've got great architecture and great design. You've got great poetry. For example, Rabindranath Tagore, he was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 with his poetry Gitanjali, for example. You've got games like chess, Ludo, snakes and ladders. You got the incredible biodiversity driven and fueled by the monsoon. So all of this comes together along the rivers, the waterways, and the real challenge was we wanted to show people these places forgotten in time, unvisited by tourists, unvisited with no infrastructure there, but inaccessible. And so that's how we pioneered the first cruises in 100 years along the rivers to showcase these hidden parts of the country. India, as you know, is a vast country in time, but also in geographic space. It's about a third of the size of the United States. If you imagine sort of the width of its furthest points, you're going from somewhere like Denver to New York, and from Houston up into Canada, up in Winnipeg, for example. So though, you know, it's not a square, but it's a triangular shape, but it covers a vast geographic area, 28 states, 8 union territories, and 22 official languages. And so for centuries, people have wandered to India and they've come back and told of the riches they found there, but also the challenges of the great distances. How do you access the culture and where do you stay? And that's why having the river cruise is such a unique opportunity to immerse and explore in the forgotten heritage of the Indian subcontinent. Um, we have designed and built different ships specifically for different routes. Last year was a landmark year for us. After 20 years, we launched the world's longest river cruise, which is a 52-day journey traversing 27 rivers across India and Bangladesh, visiting numerous sites and different heritage there. And so the idea is that every day you're sailing hundreds of miles, you're visiting places you can't go by land, with incredible forgotten romances and dramas, incredible textiles and pottery, and other places to visit. And so the beauty is that on board a locally handcrafted all-suite ship, you can go to these places in a low impact, low volume way, and to truly immerse and benefit the local peoples in each of the areas we go to. And so all the ships we design, build, own and operate ourselves, and we have different vessels which are designed for different routes and different themes. And these are all ships with proper navigation systems, pollution prevention technologies, and of course engaged in social development and habitat restoration projects as well. And they operate different theme trips and themed itineraries. And so one of our most popular itineraries, which we have here, is in eastern India here, along the Ganges, the lower Ganges, near a place called Kolkata, which was the British imperial capital and was a hub of trade for hundreds of years. And so this is the map of India you can see here. And on the map, you can see we're primarily operating on the rivers on the eastern side of India. In the north on the top of the map, you have New Delhi, which is the capital. And of course, you can see Jaipur, which is the capital of the state of Rajasthan there. And of course, the Taj Mahal is not too far from that region there, which is known as the Golden Triangle. So this is one area where many people visit. And now we're looking at this in the eastern part of India. So for those of you who are familiar with river cruising in Europe, sort of you're looking at, for example, areas which are comparable in distance as France is to Hungary, for example. So, you know, there are different states and different areas we traverse, and it's land and cruise combination journeys. That's where the cruise comes to its foray, because as I mentioned, people have gone to India. They said there are long drives. It's how do you access culture and where do you stay? And so on land trips, you do that when you drive in different parts of India. But when you come on the cruise, it's a different, serene, sublime experience. And as I mentioned, on the ships, we have all the technology, so no pollution goes into the river. We have local gourmet gastronomy, all local crew, and being a local owner operator, it's important to us that we enhance the peoples and communities that we're part of. And so our passion is to showcase the hidden side of India, India from 100 years back, with incredible hospitality on board, traversing these untouched landscapes to make wonderful, unforgettable memories of a lifetime. And we have been covered in different press, and we've always been pioneering different theme trips as well. So whether they're, I would argue, one of the world's first pure vegan cruises, for example, on the Ganges, we've had textiles trips, we have musical trips, we have trips with famous authors on the East India Company, which was very active on the region where we're sailing in. So no one sailing is the same. And in fact, our ships, the same ships in similar durations, offer many different itineraries during the season. And so one of the most popular itineraries, which is really growing now, is the Artisans of Bengal, which is a 7 nights river cruise along the lower Ganges on our Ganges Voyager ship. So we're looking at the eastern part of India here, Kolkata, on the lower Ganges here, just at the top of the Bay of Bengal, as you can see here. And so the Ganges Voyager, this is one of our vessels. It's an all-suite ship with 28 suites. It's almost 60 meters long, 12.5 meters wide. And just to give you an idea of the scope of the ship, all the cabins are on the main or the upper deck, with the sun deck having the indoor lounges, the public spaces, and of course the lower deck being reserved for crew. We have around 40 crew on board. But as you can see here, all the rooms have French balconies with view over the river, because one of the important things is as we're sailing along, every day you wake up to a new vista, a different corner of the river that we're visiting along the journey. So to give you an idea of the deck plan, the different categories, all the rooms are large, from 260 square feet up to almost 400 square feet, the Maharaja suite. So they're all large cabins on board, which we have there. So these are how the signature suites look, all locally hand painted, locally designed, these are twin or double beds. These are 260 square feet with the French balcony with a sitting area there. And of course, the same size on the upper deck, we have the colonial suites, kind of the red rooms. And again, these are twin or double beds with the view over the water. And then all the bathrooms have a WC and a shower attached, large shower, which is there in the bathroom. And then of course we have the 5, what we call the super suites. These are the Viceroy, the Heritage, and the Maharaja suites. These have large fixed double beds. So the Viceroy suite is amidships. It has a wonderful seating area, which is there. The Heritage suites are upper deck forward, so the windows face forward as you're sailing along. And the Maharaj suite, the top suite on board, it's not only the largest, but it also has a bathroom with a bathtub. That's what makes the top suite on board, and there's only one of those. So there's different categories of cabin on board. And of course, on the sun deck, we have wonderful, expansive indoor lounge, outdoor lounge, and spa and fitness areas. So this is the sun deck. Most of the cultural enrichment happens here on board. We have different performances and cultural experiences. And really the beauty is, of course, every day the ship is sailing, the river, it meanders through the landscape. It's a wild river. So there are different meanders, different sandbanks. Every day the vista is changing, different things you'll see. There may be river dolphins. There are Gangetic dolphin, which you'll be able to see at several points during the voyage as well. And of course, everyday cultural enrichment on board, as well as every different excursions to these forgotten places along the rivers there. We have a spa and a fitness center where we have Ayurvedic and European treatments. And in the Sun Deck Lounge, we have, of course, full bar is there. We have port talks, lectures and discussions. We have henna and mehndi sessions. We have tea and coffee tastings. And of course, we have the dance performance and another wonderful surprises during the cruise, which are there depending on the day of the journey that we're doing. So all the meals are served in the dining room on the main deck, and everything's prepared fresh on board every day, whether it's the, fresh croissants baked on board for the morning with our organic coffee, to giant bay Bengal tiger prawns with garlic chili cheese naan in the evenings. And there's a wide variety of cuisine available with a mixture of buffet and a la carte. And so there are European options, there are Indian options, and of course fusion cuisine as well. You can have so they're all different fresh breads and bakery, which are served on board, different kebabs, different salads, different soups, and there are multi-course meals which are served. So, and the idea is that every day as we're sailing, you're tasting fresh, natural produce, the history and geography of the places through the taste buds as you're going along. And we have different theme nights as well. So for example, we have a thali night, which is the traditional dish which is there. So you're getting to experience the different flavors of place, of people, of communities, seasonal produce of different cooking styles. And of course, India is very much a place which is still linked to nature and the seasons. Ladies will still change the fabric of the saris they're wearing based on the season. They might wear a very light muslin cotton for the summer when it's very hot. They might wear a really thick silk sari during the winter when it's very cold. And so that also comes to the food. So depending on different times of year, the different crops, different breads, which are more prominent. And so you'll experience that as we sail along, those different aspects of being intimate and close to nature, which are there. So as I said, every day the ship is sailing, we have wonderful cultural activities on board and different excursions as well. And so these are our masters. We have 2 masters on board in the wheelhouse, and every day we have excursions to different places along the journey. And on this Artisans cruise, we are really immersing in the different artisanal heritage of Bengal. So Kolkata was the British imperial capital, and it was a port city. So because of this, it was a global center of innovation in art and architecture and poetry, literature and design, in flower arrangements, because you had people from Japan, you had people from Asia, people from Europe, all mixing there and sharing ideas. And so in the 7 nights, 8 days, we begin and end in Kolkata. So Kolkata is the hub, it's where the airport is. So Kolkata has the international airport, it's also a domestic airport, so it's regionally and internationally collected. So Kolkata really being the airport hub, is the beginning and end of the cruise. So the guests can fly in and board the ship straight away in Kolkata and sail, and at the end of the cruise, transfer straight to the ship back to the airport to fly out. So Kolkata is our hub, and so these are round cruises for 7 nights, which go up and down on the lower Ganges there, visiting different places along the way. And so we do visit these European trading enclaves. So because this was such a hub for the commodities trade, so the indigo, the opium, the tea, the textiles, the spices, it was the export hub. So because of that, you had all the different traders who came over thousands of years. And of course, the latest being the Europeans, being whether it's the Armenians in the 15th century, the Danes, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the French, and the British, all have the different trading outposts. So there's every day we unravel different layers of history and culture on the journey. And just to bring it visually to life a little bit, this is Kolkata. This is the Victoria Memorial, which is the memorial for the Queen Victoria, Empress of India, built from the same marble as the Taj Mahal. There's also options to visit, for example, Mother Teresa's house, depending on the itinerary. There's also a wonderful panoramic tour of the different old colonial buildings through there. So, for example, the General Post Office, which you see from outside, is a huge building. The old Governor's Mansion, which is still there used for official purposes, is as large as Buckingham Palace, and we see it. You can see it from the outside as we drive past. So to see the wealth and the heritage that was built up in these grand monuments in Kolkata is an incredible starting point to understand that this truly was a gateway up until the Indian independence times, when the capital was shifted back to Delhi, which was always the historical seat of power for South Asia. So we board the ship, you set sail. This is how the river looks. It's pristine. There are birds, there are river dolphins, different sandbanks. You won't see any other ships or different traffic. It's only just local people going along their normal life. People bathe in the river, they fish in it, they use it for transportation. There are different crops depending on time of year, different local small industries, jute mills, brick kilns. But above all, the Ganges, it's the most sacred river in the world. It's the holy river. So people venerate the river, they worship her. She has different personalities, and there are different festivals depending on the time of year. So as the ship is meandering through the landscape from Kolkata, you'll see the different landscape and vistas changing, and people will wave to you and say hello from the shore. And it's just to see this kind of rural life carrying on along the river, as it has been done for hundreds of years. And if you're lucky enough to be there during a festival time, you may see different activities on the shore. There may be different celebrations going on. And it's truly a place where just to sit either from your cabin or on the sun deck, you just watch the world go by from there. And as I said, the river meanders quite fiercely and widely. It goes around different bends, and you'll see from Kolkata, as you leave the urban environment, it goes more towards a rural setting. There'll be different buildings, different old mansions, decrepit old bungalows, which will be visible, showing the glorious past which used to be there. This is Portuguese Bandel. It was one of the outposts there. There's a Victorian clock tower with a view over the river. This is an incredible monument, 19th century monument, which is to visit there. You have places like Kalna. This is a village there. They have these different temple complexes. So we take cycle rickshaws through the local town to visit these 108 Shiva temples in 2 concentric circles. There's also, and these are baked from terracotta clay from the river itself, and there are different stories and reliefs on the temples, which speak of the past, of history. As I showed at the beginning, there was one of the reliefs at the beginning which showed a couple of the old ships, how we've designed our ships based on the heritage. These two are actually from temples in Kalna, and they show on the left how a traditional Ganges ship used to be 300 years ago, as recorded in the temple. But also, for example, on the right, you can see a galleon which has been seen recorded either rowed or sailed upstream from the coast. So there's a lot of different stories and anecdotes really built into the fabric of these wonderful temples in Kalna. And so we take cycle rickshaws there. So all these places, when we visit every day, the only places we use motorized transport is in Kolkata at the beginning or the end. Along the cruise itself, we just walk from the ship. We take cycle rickshaw, we take electric rickshaw to visit these different places. And these areas, these are incredible monuments. And by visiting them, we are contributing to their regeneration. So these are places really off the beaten track. People don't visit these areas. And so by visiting them and contributing to them, they become beautifully restored and maintained with beautiful gardens, as you can see here in Kanla. And so we walk back through the local marketplace to see the fresh natural produce, and people are more curious about who are you, why have you come there. So if any of you have sailed in other parts of the world, or you visited incredible monuments, even in India, like the Taj Mahal, for example, this is totally untouristic in these areas. So they're very natural, authentic. You can walk easily without being without any shopping involved, and you can interact with the local people and learn their story and see what they're up to. and what's going on. So here we walk back to the local marketplace. There are different sweets being prepared, different fresh natural produce. There's also a fish market there. If people are more interested, you can also go into that. It's very pungent, but it's also fascinating to see the local fish market, which is seen there. And so again, the next day, one of the places we visit is a place called Mayapur. This is the world headquarters for the Hare Krishnas. This is the largest temple in the world under construction right by the banks of the Ganges. And one of the things is that as you're sailing towards it, because they have, during the daytime, they have devotional worship songs being played out on loudspeakers in the countryside around there. So you'll hear initially, before you even see the crest of the temple, sort of the Hare Krishna songs being played out, resounding around the landscape as we're sailing along towards Mayapur. And then you'll just see the tip of the top of the temple, and it will emerge above the horizon as we sail towards it, this incredible monument. So we have special permission, and we go there through the Pilgrims Bazaar to this incredible temple complex and learn about the Hare Krishnas. And it's truly an interesting place to go, because people from all over the world go there for pilgrimage, and there are people from America, from Europe, from other places who are there, and so we get to go and interact with them, learn their story, and to learn a little bit more about this locality and why it's so impressive and interesting there. And now this is where we turn back and we sail back towards Kolkata. There are villages of weavers where they have incredible, some of the finest muslin in the world, all hand spun from start to finish in traditional methods, hand dyed in different styles. And so prominently also ladies who are doing it as well, so to learn their story and how the textiles has been there. Of course, one of the things which the East India Company did was, when they took control of this region, was to take control of the textiles trade, which until then was bankrupting empires and balance of trade. If any of you have been on the Danube, for example, you've seen places like Milk Palace, where you've been to in Vienna, Schönbrunn, and different areas. The shawls and the dresses which they were buying, the finest textiles and other items, were being made along the banks of the rivers that time, and they were really bankrupting the coffers through the balance of trade. And that's one of the reasons why the East India Company wanted to take control of the textile industry here in Bengal. So sort of to visit there, to learn how the textiles are being resurrected, the different styles, and of course they're doing everything in a traditional method, which is, well, it's very interesting to learn there. Another place we visit is Guptipara, and they still carry on the traditional pottery style. So one of the things people always say is that how come that in India that sometimes you see lots of, after festivals and different activities, there's lots of kind of like garbage thrown out, plastic bags and other things. And really one of the reasons is that for thousands of years, literally thousands of years, for festivals, traditionally clay items were used, which are biodegradable. So they'd be biodegradable. They'd, of course, biodegradable plates made from leaf, and there would be biodegradable cups made from clay, and all these things which, when thrown down, would naturally biodegrade, of course, in a lot of time. And so if you take a culture which has been doing that for thousands of years, and overnight you give access to cheap and volume plastic and other items, it takes time to change society, to manage different materials. So to learn about how they're still carrying the traditions of the pottery and different cups and utensils made from clay is also fascinating. And of course, to get a little bit hands-on if you feel like it, although it's not mandatory to do that. That's also really an interesting, unique aspect which you can't do anywhere else. And again, this is another unique location where, again, it's different stories which you won't experience in any other part of India. This was a French colonial enclave. They had a guillotine there till the 19th century. This is the old governor's mansion with Marianne in front. Marianne is the personification. She carries the tricolour there, with an incredible history of colonial heritage and the French colonial heritage in India. And this was an enclave where people used to go and hide out to outrun the British law when they're on the run, for example, because it was a different jurisdiction. So there's a wonderful strand, sort of a boulevard on the waterfront. There's the governor's mansion. There are 2 or 3 different museums depending on the time to visit. One of them is in one of the schools, and is again there are many freedom fighters in independence who came from Chandernagore. There's also a wonderful Sacré-Cœur church, which is a wonderful place to visit there as well. So on this cruise, we have visited different places like terracotta temples in Kalna. We visited Kolkata with the British imperial history, Mayapur, the largest temple, the textiles, the pottery, and a little bit of the French European influence as well. And to do it on a locally handcrafted ship, where every day you're sailing, having the fresh food, it's truly a part of not only immersing, slowing down, interfacing with the peoples and culture, but it's also about regenerating these forgotten landscapes, these areas which used to be prosperous and grew up in a different era. And of course, with the advent of roads and railways and airplanes later on, have been totally left behind, and how we can maintain these monuments, restore them, and to maintain that heritage for the future. That's also part of the story and part of the positivity of what we're trying to do there. And so, I mean, just to give you an idea of the different, there are sailing dates. So we only operate in the best time, which is between September and April, which is the best time for India. And they're all phenomenal times to sail on the Ganges River in Bengal where we're sailing. And of course, there are different times of year when there are different festivals, which are mentioned, for example, and different itineraries. But so these are the sort of the broad ideas of when we're sailing from, between up until April, and then starting again in September, October, every year. That's how we sail. And just to give you an idea of sort of these are sort of the costs, the published costs per person for the different categories of suites we have on board. So that gives you an idea of the different costs. So it's approximately around 4,000, just over 4,000 US dollars per person for twin share for the entry level cabins on the signature suite. And so, for example, this would include everything from the arrival, departure transfers to the meals, the excursions, the sightseeing on board, and of course the culture and enrichment, different activities. The only thing which would be extra, which we don't normally include, would be, for example, the spa, the tips, the alcohol, and the laundry. But the soft drinks, tea and coffee, all the experiences on board, the different breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner. These would all be included there as well. And one thing I would say is that, as I said, India has a specific perception of being a difficult destination. And actually, with the river cruising, what we found is we have a phenomenal number of guests from the US who actually say they cannot imagine seeing India otherwise. So our cruises, they'd be called luxurious, aristocratic, high-end, but also being ethical, responsible, and sustainable as well. And so it's our hope that through world-class river cruising, just like you do on the Danube or on the Rhone or on the Mekong of the world, that India has incredible stories, incredible rich heritage to share with the world, which has been forgotten. And by sailing on these ships, which are really, again, places where you can't go normally, that's the unique aspect of it. No other parts of India has the diversity of stories, the richness of heritage, the thousands of years of trading and commercial history, and of course, the ties with global trade and multinationals, and the heritage of how things are going forward. So there's never been a better time really to promote India. India is now the most populous country in the world. It's a huge constitutional republic and I think people are really curious to learn more about the peoples, the culture of the place, and to do it in a way which is really in a low impact way, in a way which allows time and space to learn the heritage, the stories, to ask questions, to learn to try the sari on, to wear turbans, to wear the sari, to see how mendi, the henna sessions are done, to have the tea and coffee in traditional styles, to have the chance to taste the different local flavors and the food, and to see it in a way which no one else can do otherwise by land, because these places are otherwise inaccessible. So it's our passion that to give people the opportunity to see the real India, with river dolphins, with birds, with wildlife. And of course, the best part is if you do the famous India before the cruise. So you do the Taj Mahal, you do Delhi, you do Jaipur, you do in beautiful hotels, you have incredible food there. But then after that, you see the serene, sublime India, the real India along the river cruise. And that's the unique aspect that we can offer there. So thank you so much for your time. Now, I'd love to hear if anyone has any questions or comments or feedback.
Well, wonderful. That was fantastic. I'm telling you, I cannot believe how beautiful those cabins are. I mean, seriously, they are literally a work of art. It's just amazing. The ship is beautiful. I would just be in awe walking around looking at everything. It was just you just don't expect to see cabins that look like that in this day and age. They were just beautiful. A lot of people have mentioned that here in the comments. Also, that people feel it's been very informative, which I have to agree. I've learned so much just in this short period of time. A couple questions I have for you. One of them is, do you do, like, I know that the ship's not huge or anything, obviously. So do you do like family groups or anything like that? Have you done that before?
Absolutely. We have, on the ship, we have 28 cabins on board. So we do, for example, we do whole ship charters depending on special themes or interests. And if it's a small group of 5 or 10 people, we do special programs and different things we can do on there.
Okay, that's great. I was thinking that would just be a perfect scenario for a family, a family extended type of a trip. So I really like that idea. Can I ask you, how do you have connecting cabins? Somebody was asking that.
No, so there's no connecting cabins on board, but we do have cabins which kind of are adjacent to each other. And the other thing is, compared to, I myself, I have very young children, 2 and 4 years old right now. And we do actually allow my children to be on our cruise. We do allow, there's no age restrictions on our cruise, but what we do say is that, of course, to be cognizant that it's not geared towards young children or young families, but we do allow it, and people do come with their young children and families. And typically we
Okay.
don't have any cabins which have any triple, we don't have any extra beds on board. So what we do is, for example, we do have one of the super suites has sort of a small sofa in there, for example. So that can be used, for example, if there's a child who's maybe slightly, the parent could share with the parents in the same bed, or on there. But if an extra bed's required, then another cabin would be required there.
Okay. All right. I have a question about inoculations. Are there any inoculations required for U.S. passengers to travel to India?
You would best be checked with your government advice and your healthcare provider for that.
Okay. All right. Other people saying great presentation. I think everybody really has enjoyed this so much. Do you also ever do any, or do you suggest that folks do any pre or post in Calcutta? In Calcutta, is it?
That's right. Well, in the cruising program, we cover the major sites for Kolkata. What we would say is for pre and post is, one is, for example, if it's a first timer to India, we would say combine with the Golden Triangle, with Delhi,
Okay.
Agra, and Jaipur for the Taj Mahal. But we would also say that if it's a repeater, we combine it with Darjeeling. So Darjeeling is a beautiful place in the mountains where they call it the champagne of teas is grown. There's an incredible small train, steam engine, which goes locomotive through the hills, and their monasteries and their mountaineering centers. So you can combine it with, for example, Taj Mahal, but also with Darjeeling, with mountains and the Himalayas as well. And there are many different options from Kolkata to do combinations, because Kolkata Airport, being a global and a regional hub, is very well connected with different parts of India, but parts of Asia as well. So there are
Oh,
multiple
that's
different
great.
options
Okay.
to do there.
That's fantastic. How about commissions? Can you give us a little indication for the agents on here about what your commission rates are like?
Well, I think the best thing is, if someone is interested to collaborate and to feature India for a cruise, just write to me. My email's here, just on the bottom of the screen here. Get in touch, and we can send you the further details and information there. So this is our website. It's antaracruises.com, and my email is arjun@antara.cruises, which is there.
Okay. So it's obviously a personalized booking procedure. So with folks, if folks need assistance with the pre and post or anything like that, I'm assuming you help package that entire process.
Oh, absolutely. So we actually we make everything bespoke for every inquiry which comes. Of course, apart from the
Okay.
cruise, for the cruises, it's with 28 cabins, we can't change too much. But for example, if there's a small group of, a small family group of a certain number of people, we can give us, different unique experiences. And when it comes to the pre and post, we have a full capability throughout the region to have pre and post packages which are tailored to the requirements of the guests based on the accommodation needed, but also, as I said, Joni, our passion is about, we've always been in special interest travel. So it's always been about showcasing the best parts of the country through the lens which people understand and appreciate. So if you've got people who do want to do India, but they're more interested in slightly more towards the food side, or slightly more the history side, or slightly more the textile side, we can skew the different experiences. So there are different interactions along those different themes. And that's really what makes the journey transformational. You're not just staying in wonderful places or doing it in different transportation methods, but you're doing it with the local people based on what actually interests you, rather than being told what you're interested in. And that's
Oh,
what
I
we like.
love that. That's fantastic. I love that. So somebody was also asking about the opportunity for vegan cruises, and they're saying, is getting the vegan option available on the cruises that you currently do?
Yes. So last year we had a pure vegan cruise. We had 10-day special sailing. We had
Okay.
32 people, and it was so vegan. Even the crew had vegan food. There was no leather on board. The whole ship was veganized from hull plates to cocktails. And so
Wow.
having gone through that, and having understood every facet of our operation, from the engine room to the wheelhouse, in that aspect, we vegan service on board, but it will not be a vegan cruise because there will be non-vegans on board. So that's the only thing.
Okay, interesting though. That's great. Well, obviously, extremely personalized. No matter what the travel professional is looking for, it sounds like you guys can make it happen within the restrictions, of course, that you
And if
have,
it's not possible,
which is
Joni, we'll
great.
also be honest and say we can't do it as well.
Exactly, exactly. They can talk to somebody, you can say that, right? That's great. Okay. Well, I think we've answered most of the questions. If anybody has anything else, pop it in there real quick, and if
Can I
not, we'll
show
go
a
ahead
quick
and
video, Joni? Sorry, I forgot to show the
yes.
video at the end. A quick short video,
Oh,
which will.
go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
So I hope
Perfect.
we can bring it to life a little bit, bring the ship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Wow, that's wonderful. Oh, I get a couple more questions. Okay, hold on a second here. Someone asks, does the 52-day cruise combine different ships?
No, it's one ship. It's actually a 18 suite ship, which we built, designed and built for sailing that. So actually, so 20 years ago, my dad, we first started sailing the first Ganges cruises in 100 years, and then we opened up Indo-Bangladesh for the first cruises in 80 years, and then we designed and built a ship specifically to sail this route, which sails 52 days. It's
Wow.
one 18 suites ship. You can see it on our website, which is the state-of-the-art ship, which is an ultra shallow draft. And so that was flagged off by our Prime Minister last year. Narendra Modi flagged it off for the first inaugural sailing, which was just after COVID. And so it's one ship, 27 different rivers, two countries, and
That's
it's the longest. We
fantastic.
have the record for that. It's the longest river cruise in the world.
That's incredible. Look at that. Wow. That is just incredible. This is fascinating. I love it. So I think we're ready to go ahead and do our prize giveaway. Folks, I just want to let you all know this was recorded. I know many of you are going to want to go back and watch this again for more details. So you will be getting a link that will be emailed to you tomorrow. So just be watching for that and you'll be able to go back and take a look at it. And as well, Arjun is going to have all of your information, your email addresses, so you can feel free to reach out to him. You've got his email right there and take it to the next step because it's fascinating. And I think this is something that we should all grab onto and consider doing this. It's very specialized, but I think that in our world of travel, people are looking for that kind of an experience. So I think this is fantastic. I'm so glad we had you with us today. So we're going to do a prize giveaway. We have a question and I've got the answer. Folks have been asking if we can do our prize giveaways by having like a raffle thing where we could put everybody's name into a bucket. That just doesn't work, unfortunately, in the technical world that we have here. So the best that I can do, and I hope that'll be okay with everybody, is to pick a number and count down and get the correct answer that matches to that number. So bear with me on this, folks. So what you're going to want to do is over where you see the questions area, once I ask the question, as fast as you can, put the correct answer in, and then I'm going to ask Arjun a question. Arjun, what between 1 and 20, what is your favorite number?
Oh, I'll go for number 8, please.
Okay. All right. Well, that was easy. Okay. So number 8, correct answer is going to win this $50 Amazon gift card from Travel Professional News. We're just very excited to have Arjun here, so we want to offer that. All right. So here we go. Ready. Which is the best airport hub for this Ganges cruise? Go. All right. We have a winner. And the winner is Steve Powers. Steve, you have won a $50 Amazon gift card. I will be sending that to you within the hour, so you can be looking for it in your looking for an email that will give that to you. So congratulations. The answer to the question is what, Arjun?
It's Kolkata Airport, CCU.
CCU is the airport code. All right, awesome. Kolkata Airport. I know a few people put it in there. I didn't go by spelling, folks. I knew that not everybody was going to get that right, so I just picked number 8 with the as close as it looked like to Kolkata. Okay, so it would be more fair. Fantastic presentation, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is really, really, really wonderful. I've enjoyed this immensely. And I look forward to hopefully we hope that could bring you back again, Arjun, and we hope that you have a lot of interest from the agents here and that they reach out to you moving forward. I'll let you say your goodbyes and we'll close it out for the day.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining, for attending, for listening to me go on and on about India and why it's the best time to sell India River Cruises. But I truly believe that, after 20 years of promoting India River Cruises, actually now we're having our record year this year, 25. It'll be an incredible year for India as a river cruise destination. And I think if you've got guests who've done river cruise in the Amazon and the Mekong, other parts of the world, they would be interested not only in seeing India, but also seeing the river cruising experience in India, and we would love to show them that as well. So please do have a look at our website, get in touch with me, and let's collaborate together to push India for world-class river cruising and to show that, India, yes, it has perception as a challenging destination, but we will say it's a seamless, easy, and straightforward destination with incredible food, incredible monuments, and incredible people, and we want to show them this wonderful experience. So yeah, look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Arjun. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.